I've got nothing to say to you.
Looks like the circus left town, but the clowns are still here. Oh, so you went and talked to my mommy, and now she's making me play with you. Is that it, lawman?
And what's gonna happen if we don't? You gonna go and tell on us?
Yeah, I heard him. Now fuck do you think I'm doing here? You'd have your ass handed to you if it wasn't for the boss man's word. Let me state this very clearly, Capo. Hello, officer. I'm Titus Hardy, and these are my boys. Hardy boys. How may we assist you?
Explosive laughter follows. To his men, Titus Hardy is a golden god. They want to laugh at his jokes even before they leave his lips. This guy is a born leader. But having Everard back you up like that did seem to have some effect.
Again, just get the dead guy's autograph, since you're...
Good.
About fucking time. Looks like the circus left town, but the clowns are still here.
Establish authority. Yes. Authority. Feverish thoughts race through your mind.
Stop shitting your pants. You don't need to know, all right? We took care of it. The law handled it, all right?
Yeah. Aren't you listening? It's done. Finito.
For God's sake, stop shouting! Stop breaking things in my establishment! Stop provoking those oafs!
Sounds like someone's damn broke.
They're not going to give you anything, can't you see? I can't have a police interrogation in here. People are trying to eat. Wait, what?
Easy, babes. What is this? I can't have a slap fight in my bar. It's embarrassing.
We are deep in fast territory. We need to cool off and re-engage later.
Everyone can see you picked some wrong options. Next time you have to come up with better things to say.
Looks like the circus left town, but the clowns are still here.
Can I help you?
A dented yellow mailbox greets you with its graffito and...
Hello, hello. Let me know if I can help you with anything. Sure thing. Maybe. Shady-looking guys came in here yesterday, looking like they'd just taken off their Wild Pines overalls. They asked if I have a police weapon to sell. They went their way. It was a trip, but you know, all sorts of people come here, asking for all sorts of things.
Maybe Claire really is tracking down your gun.
People as oleaginous as Everard seem like they're lying, even when they're really being truthful.
Sure, man.
The woman still has her eyes fixed on the photograph in her hands. In the background, the radio plays.
If you want her attention, you may need to be more forceful.
Where am I? Who are you?
The smile on her face has disappeared, replaced by the wary aspect of a cornered beast.
Never mind. I remember now. I'm still stuck in that traffic jam in the 50s. The men have small jaws and everything is made out of plastic. Why do you need plastic when you can make the world out of amber? Back in Mecca, during the time of the revolution, the sidewalks and cafes are filled with young people. I was on my way to see a new Boyadero picture starring Gabriel Buenguerro. Until you came along, that is. This is Gabriel Buenguerro.
A strikingly handsome man looks straight at you, his head crowned with a wide brim hat. His hair is dark as an oil slick, and his jaw the most perfectly chiseled thing you've ever seen.
He was the biggest star of his day. Girls used to faint in the aisles of cinema whenever he came on the screen. And schoolboys used to memorize all his lines.
In all likelihood, it's a world that's only ever existed in her mind.
Someone was. They are someone's memories, boy. What difference does it make if it's me or not? They're beautiful. That is all that matters. Beautiful and true. And they will win. They're coming for this, you know? All of this.
She seems to derive some bitter pleasure from this strange thought, as if the past will one day wipe the present away, like a tidal wave approaching.
I wasn't dreaming. I was there, Lawman. It was early spring, and the mine behind the Black Sun had just come out. The posters were 20 meters tall. Everything was golden. While you, people, were tearing each other apart over your petty little revolution, in Methk, it was a golden age.
The Republic of Methk is a massive confederation on the Isola of Muindi, the world's largest state by territory. It's a petrostate, a constitutional monarchy, and, as of recently, an outcast due to its tilt to the far right.
Why not, Harife? It's not like I have anything better to do in this hellhole. Diamonds? Of course not. But wouldn't it be marvelous if I was? Whatever stupid things they put in the lorry, I imagine. I quit concerning myself with that a long time ago. Besides, I don't drive the lorry for the cargo, if you know what I mean.
She says that as if something narcotic is the real reason.
Of course it does. What did you expect? Of course not. To truly understand the boyadero, you need to listen to on the Western Plain.
The boyadero, boya for short, is a cowherder from upstream Magritte, the great steppes of northern Methk. People like Mañana at the gates have turned it into an ideology of sorts.
It's an old ballad about a young girl who falls in love with a daring boyadero. He promises to marry her as soon as he returns from the Western Plain. Of course not. The boyadero returns from the Western Plain a changed man. One night, as he and his beloved are out walking along the river Magritte, she pleads with him to give up his riding and settle down.
In the background, you can hear the orchestra swell as the screen fills with the maiden's imploring eyes.
No. The boyadero strangles his beloved and throws her body in the Magritte. Then he rides off, because the Western Plain is calling to him. The most beautiful. A true boyadero needs a whole horizon to himself. He can't be tied down by man or woman. His beloved was selfish. She didn't know what it meant to love a boyadero. Did you just call me a lady, Harife?
She clearly doesn't think she's a lady. Don't repeat it.
I'm not that either, Harife. I've gone too far from it all to remember what was between my legs. It doesn't work like that on the long haul. I'm only terrifying to small children and to those who used to know me.
Yeah, it's not her. Believe me.
Because they can no longer recognize the person I once was. The big ones, the trucks. There's no women and men there. It's all just... In the middle of this town, there's a ghostly motorway. It takes all the people where they want to stay.
You feel very cold suddenly, as if standing face to face with a terrifying adversary. Then the feeling dissipates, and all you see is an aging woman. In the background, a A quiet song seeps from her cabin into the air. You don't hear any vocals.
How should I know? Do I look like I spend a lot of time with the other communers sniffing around when I have my movies to go to? Oh, Sim.
She's just a distracted old woman. We should maybe let her get back to her things.
Come on, he thinks. She's not the lady driver.
You hear that, Lowman? I don't think your partner likes you spending too much time with me.
Nothing. I just don't think she's connected to anything.
He doesn't want your frail mind caught up in something here. Something unconnected to the case. But connected to this woman tuning out like that.
A pale dream is what it is. What do I need drugs for, Lowman? What I see, what I feel, the great adversary, no drugs can compare. Yes, there is a protagonista and an adversario. I am on the side of the adversary. There's no coming back from that hole.
Those epithets are familiar somehow. The great adversary, the great unrest. I don't like the sound of any of that. Sounds like a horrible drug. The worst one of them all.
If you don't know,
Maybe if she thought you're corrupt.
who the fuck is Irrat? Ah, and what do I care about the Union boss? He's no Gabriel, he's no Franco Negro, he's not even Hermenegildo the Hound. Maybe, probably not. Makes no difference to me either way. Just this month, I made half a dozen trips from Saramiriza to Grat, on the U41A. What do you think they take from Saramiriza to Grat, Lowman? It's diamonds, Lowman, obviously.
Damn this. Make her answer.
I would never make fun of a real lawman, Sheriff.
Ma'am, you're not responsible for what the client puts in your lorry, as long as the seals are not opened. We officers know that.
Lay off her.
Where do you want me to go? This isn't so bad. I can listen to music, or the seagulls. Look at all the colors and the futures of this world. It's a good palate cleanser, this jamboree. Or I can just relax and let my mind carry me back where it will, to the Great Plains.
I think we're done here, no?
Yes, go. Enough jamboree. I need to get back to Mesquite.
There it is, a brave little army in your pocket. The 1st Smokes Platoon. 20 brave souls standing in salute, ready to step into fire for you, sir. You picked the best one. This soldier is fat and succulent. What are you waiting for? Light up. Re-become yourself. Get a load of this rock and roll cop hair, people. Johnny Thundercop fishes a cheap lighter out of his pants. With a flick of the thumb, there's fire. A primal satisfaction. Here we go. Thick, warm smoke gets sucked down into your lungs. Immediately, you feel a warm nostalgia fill your head, body, and soul. A nostalgia for yourself. The man you were in your youth. Johnny Thundercop is back, and he's chill as balls.
In the bottom right corner of the screen, there's a cigarettes button. Cigarettes gives +1 to intellect skills. Logic, rhetoric, conceptualization, visual calculus, encyclopedia, and drama. This is good before a white check, but damages your health.
Looking for something, Hunt? Come to tell me to fuck off again? I don't know what you're talking about. He did something. He stole his employer's goods and another lorryman's job. You should be thankful for the tip.
He's been expecting this. He's really puffed himself up.
Listen up, fuckwits. You don't scare me. You cops don't run Evashel West. You don't run Martinez. You don't run anything.
No. He means La Puta Madre.
A legendary, and not in a good way, crime boss from Jamrock. Controls what is probably the most powerful organized crime outfit in Revachol West. Looks like the lieutenant has a plan. Let him do this.
Yeah, him.
Then I presume you are familiar with his peonies.
Yeah, they're his little bitches. He's got them all over the unions.
Not just the unions. He has peonies everywhere. Some say he even has them in the RCM. Dirty fucking peonies who'd do anything for him. Multi-ethnic drug addicts.
The lieutenant adopts a rodentine quality. Be cool, sire. He's getting into this.
You're not peonies. You wouldn't be investigating a drug thing if you were.
No, of course not. We are not peonies. But if we were, and one of Madre's drivers were to be stealing from him, then it's a good peony's job to find out who that is.
He's surprisingly good at this. Not bad at all. Look at him lurching.
It's not a hard job. It won't take a long time. It won't make Padre Madre angry. But a stupid fucking racist is standing in the way, protecting this fucking thief.
I'm not scared of you or the mob. I'm under the protection of the Lorrymen and Carters Guild.
You've seen that corpse in the ceramic armor there. Did his shitty little guild protect him?
Nah, you wouldn't just leave him out there if you...
The lieutenant turns and gives you a barely perceptible nod. I softened him up as best I could. Now it's on you to finish the job.
Looking for something odd? Come to tell me to fuck off again?
Men like this only respect two things: strength and fear. Time to turn up the volume.
Fuck you, I told you. I'm not gonna...
There. His voice grows smaller as yours.
Look, fuck you, man. It's some lorry down there. Green, banged up thing. I don't fucking know who she is.
When did she go away?
I don't know. I don't even know her name. She just rolls with the fleet and acts like a big shot. Some dyke, probably. I haven't even seen her for days.
Now it's not a big deal for him anymore. This is how he saves face.
Past the monument. Down there. The Green Temple. Now leave me the fuck alone, okay?
A small temple by the monument. Green. Let's get into that lorry.
Looks like you got his adrenaline up, too. This screen found, A to Z, Contemporain, is parked in the shadow of the ruins looming overhead. It's seen better days.
This must be the one he told us about, unless he was lying.
The glass on the side windows is tinted and covered with dust. You can barely make out the shape of a seat and two steering levers. The door is locked. The handle looks shiny, like it's recently replaced.
Use the pry bar to smash the window. Open it from the inside. I don't know how good it is, but this investigation has taken long enough. We can't afford it to take any longer.
This screen found, A to Z, Contemporain. This screen found, A to Z, Contemporain, is parked in the shadow of the ruin. With a firm grip, you raise the pry bar, a glint of light catching on the tip. Call down the hammer of truth and justice. Release your secrets, lorry cabin. The window shatters and droplets of glass fly everywhere, shattering over the lorry floor and pavement.
Subtle.
The smell of cigarettes and perfume welcomes you. The cabin inside is plastered with old movie posters. Actresses smile from the walls. There's a radio transmitter in the front and a toolbox tucked under the driver's seat. Some tools lie scattered near the pedals. These are movie posters featuring starlets from long-forgotten films from the 20s, the teens, even the 90s of the last century. One of them particularly catches your eye, a centerfold of an ingenue attached right above the back seat. The actress is draped in a sheathed dress, one of her shoulders bared. The faded remains of an autograph run across the poster. She's looking past the camera. Wait, doesn't she resemble someone you know? But you can't put your finger on whom exactly. This is Tijon, a starlet from the dawn of cinematography, less known for her talent than her tragic, untimely death. She wasted away in a drug den called the Door to the River, not far from here on Boogie Street, a mixture of cocaine and morphine. She was afraid of the world and the camera too. The actresses and the rear actor all smile you a warm goodbye. A radio transmitter is attached to the dashboard and a toolbox sits under the driver's seat. Looks like the frequency dial is absent. It requires a key to work, but the key has been removed, likely by the missing lady driver.
Strange. There are so many radio stations saved here. Must be over 100 at least. Doesn't look like it. It's completely inoperable without a dial key. For contacting an entire fleet of lorrymen, for example. This is all shortwave, UW and UKV. Looks like we are dealing with an impressive organizational tool. The nerve center of a huge operation, with quite a range too.
The smell of 1,000 cigarettes, some dead actresses, and a rusty old toolbox under the seat. You wedge yourself under the steering wheel to get a better look. Seems like the few tools lying around here, a hammer, a pair of pliers, a rusty wrench, have been casually thrown there by the disorganized driver. But one odd detail does catch your eye. A piece of sandpaper has been glued to the throttle. Sandpaper adds extra grip.
Sandpaper? A novel technique?
The movie stars are still smiling from the walls. There's a radio transmitter in the front and a pull-out toolbox tucked under the driver's seat. Some tools lie scattered near the pedals. A metallic drawer slides out from the seat. It's empty, except for a folded newspaper. It's an issue of Périphérique from last Wednesday. A piece of paper falls out from its pages. It looks like an article ripped out from a radio enthusiast magazine. Complex mathematical equations explain the basics of something called the Ulan frequency system. These formulas look oddly painful. Maybe it's the hangover, but they give you a headache.
The Ulan frequency system? I've never heard of that before. I know of FM, AM, UKV, but...
The pull-out toolbox slides back into its nest. The rest is as it was. Radio, posters, a trace of motor oil smell under all the cigarettes. You close the rusty old lorry door.
Great. I think we got everything. A word, detective? Before we return to Joyce? All right, we've finished here. Let's quickly debrief and go over what we found, so we don't do it in front of the company rep. Honestly, I'm quite worried by what we've seen so far. The evidence seems to point to a rather extensive and well-organized operation. I'm especially intrigued by that radio transmitter, particularly the sheer number of stations it can connect. Looks like this alleged drug trade casts a wide net. I'm not sure what the Ulan frequencies are all about, but they may hold some significance. Perhaps it's a better way to connect between fleets while avoiding frequency bleed, or maybe it's used to tap into RCM networks.
Listening in on your calls between you and your station, a worrying prospect.
As elegant as they are, I don't think they are relevant to the drug trade.
Don't be fooled. Desire always plays a role.
Yes, well...
Unimportant.
We didn't find anything conclusive linking them to the smuggling operation. But somehow, I doubt that Everard Clare would be oblivious to something like this happening right under his nose. My suggestion is, we use it against the Union in any way we can, to our own ends. It's a slippery hill, but we just might be able to pin them down, indirectly, down the road. We should return to the murder case, see what Joyce tells us about the lynching. When we are done for the day, I call my station and suggest our narcotics department look into it. There are more than enough grounds to start an official investigation, sometime later when we are done here. We do not want to get caught in that. The fact that one hasn't started already gives me pause. An investigation, I mean. Especially if the Madre grouping is involved, and I can't imagine they aren't. It's certainly worrisome. All the same, I don't like the idea of internal affairs descending on the matter. That won't help anyone either. Debrief over. After you.
The man before you is naked, but for a pair of underpants and white boots. His skin is marbled with decaying veins and blotched by lividity. The man before you is naked, but for a pair of underpants and white boots. His skin is marbled with decaying veins and blotched by lividity.
I'm gone. Into the wild pale yonder. In the past, way out in the west. I'm a joke. Look at me. A killer, a motherfucker, and a killer.
Takes one to know one.
Go ahead, Coppo. What do you mean? It's the power of your imagination. Go ahead, ask me more questions. You fucking love questions. Because you're a copperoonie. Look at all of them go. Do you want more questions? Coming right up, copperoonie Rooney. This is getting upbeat now. Fuck no. You're no Rooney. No, you're not a Harry either. You're a motherfucker. That's who you are. Rooney the motherfucker. Because you have loved it, me and Provocopo. It was love all along. Sure, Lobo. I can ask you a question. Looking at my face, motionless, looking into my eyes, standing here. Why are you investigating my murder?
Something is on its way. Something hidden. It's coming. A miracle from the northwest, and it's almost here. You can feel it in the air, on your hands. The cold spring air smoothing them over.
Do I remind you of someone?
A child born with Muller's disease, harlequinism, grown up miraculously.
There you go. Look at that bright kid. We're birds of a feather, you and I. Soon you will be just like me. Just keep drinking and having a good time.
Feeling nausea, vomiting, tenderness or pain around the liver area, tiny red lines on the skin above waist level, more like days, Coppo. The clock is ticking. Your liver tells you so.
Come back later, Corpo. Amuse yourself with my frank manners and my memento mori features. If possible, also, see me in your dreams. Of course, you have questions. Come back later, Corpo.
The steel-reinforced belt presents a unique challenge. I brought chain cutters, but I don't see a good angle of approach to the belt.
He doesn't actually think the challenge is unique. He thinks it's frustrating, annoying, and harder than he thought.
The cadaver is a good 1.2 meters up. Neither one of us can reach the belt without assistance. And even if we do, there's the question of cutting it. Someone else? You mean like the police? Someone like a paid garbage man? Or a cleaning crew? I have bad news for you. That is a detective. I know it's hard, but I assure you, the others won't come to help us. And we have a growing sanitary concern here. We need to get him down, fast. Climb up there and saw the branch? There has to be a less risky way, with less falling down of trees.
Yeah! Bang bang time, pig! Shoot his head off!
How?
Where the buckle ties the rope to the branch. That's a good spot to aim.
Where? Ah, yes, I see. If the shot hits that, there might be a chance to release the belt.
Yeah, now we're talking. Entertain a Kuno with some shit.
They'll miss! The pigs will miss Kuno!
I'll blow his head off.
Take it! Take the shot!
Yeah, take the shot. Kuno wants some of that shit.
Silence. With his elbow sharp, the lieutenant unzips his jacket and produces a lightweight firearm. He drops a paper cartridge in the barrel, separates the scouring stick, and gives the cartridge 5 tucks. That's a Kiel A9090 Armistice, mass-produced muzzleloader, ascetic, frugal, one of the most common firearms in the world. He then steps back and assumes the fellow's stess position, taking aim. The corner of his eye twitches. His finger is on the trigger. voice is drowned in a shrill blast that echoes off the walls of the surrounding tenements. A cloud of smoke slowly parts in the air as the lieutenant steps back and says to himself,
God damn it.
He feels bad about it. About his eyes mostly. Just having bad eyesight. Probably from a young age. Whatever you do, do not console him.
Fucking idiot! Mukabat asshole!
Kuno could have hit it easy, but then Kuno's not fucking handicapped, is he?
No, we are lucky as it is. We didn't break anything, and the victim remains uncompromised. Any more mistakes could put us in an unfortunate position with the locals. We have eyes on us. I didn't do us any favors with that. Remain collegial, officer. It was an honest mistake, and I will not repeat it. I have to say, it's beginning to look unlikely we can get him down without assistance. It's bad as it is, us shooting firearms like punks. Go ahead, I'm not stopping you. Just don't lose it.
They only have one gun!
This is the sorriest pair of pigs Kuno's ever seen.
Yeah, take it, you fucking banani poika! Take it and shoot yourself in the mouth!
The cold piece of bakelite and gunmetal is surprisingly light. Your fingers fit right through the guard, instinctively resting on the trigger.
The fuck are you waiting for, Kuno? Tell him to shoot himself in the mouth!
Kuno is silent. Aggression gathers in the air. The trigger feels delicate and ready to break under your finger. The buckle comes into focus in your sights. You stand with your feet planted firmly in the ground and your left hand supporting your gun arm.
Why don't you just shoot yourself in your mouth? At least you won't miss.
I agree. Enough gunslinging for today. I suggest we go to the harbor and ask the leader of the Union to help us with the body. I would have preferred us not to owe the Union anything, but we clearly cannot do this ourselves. Let's go.
This man probably comes from Seaguy, sometimes known as the Apricot Suzerainty, an archipelago in the Samaran Isola. Apricot Suzerainty calls to mind an era when the Seaguy archipelago was colonized by Revachol. It's a bit of a slur, in other words.
Very cool. I admire your awareness of our intertwined histories. It's super nice of you to apologize for colonialism, but the Apricot Suzerainty is a shithole. That's why I left. That's so cool, officer. Speaking of, why not support an independent local entrepreneur? But
the speakers below are banged up and worthless. The sneakers triumph over them.
super cool. Now the premium lifestyle is yours, officer.
The sneakers seem to vibrate in your hands with an almost mystical energy.
The junk is yours, officer. Happy listening. Try not to hurt your ears with that Samaran garbage.
The man before you is naked, but for a pair of underpants and white boots. His skin is marbled with decaying veins and blotched by lividity. On his chest, a fading web of tattoos. The cargo belt used to hang. As you narrow your eyes, only the lower extremities are pink with a dash of blue. The cadaver slowly twists on the cargo belt.
Yes?
The man before you is naked, but for a pair of underpants and white boots. His skin is
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? Yes, my eyes on the harbour have sent word to that effect. What have you discovered? It doesn't really matter, and I do apologise for the surveillance. Wild Pines can't afford to be blind at a time like this. In any case, it's a relief to know someone has looked into it. If I may ask, will there be an official investigation? I assume you discovered there is an operation.
The lieutenant is about to interject. Cut him off. This decision should be yours.
If there is an investigation, it will be part of an ongoing operation, subject to confidentiality. I'm sure you understand.
Of course, detectives. In any case, you've held up your end of our arrangement. I trust you with the rest. Now it's my turn. I wouldn't normally break protocol like this, but the situation demands it. If you don't solve this murder, I'm afraid we may have a bloodbath on our hands.
The words bloodbath sound cold in her mouth. They taste of iron and strawberries.
Yes. I'm afraid this strike may descend into a small-scale civil war, with possible consequences for all of Rivershoal West.
Since you are sharing, ma'am, this is also the RCM's worst-case scenario.
Then we're on the same page, as grim as it may be. I have an indirect role to play, I'm sad to say. My employer experienced a momentary lapse of faith in me. In that moment, they elected to deploy a private military contractor as an insurance measure. They called it my security detail. They were dispatched after I relayed the union's initial offer.
Every worker...
A member of the board. I tried to convince my employer it was simply a piece of rhetoric, or a joke. They did not appreciate the humor. Absolutely not. These mercenaries are muscle, pure and simple. They are meant to intimidate the Union into surrendering.
Who are they, exactly?
Crenell, an Oranese military company. As far as I know, 3 arrived in Martinez. They report to me sporadically, but they do not answer to me. They wear ceramic armor, have semi-automatic weapons, and years of combat experience. They also have trauma and stressor disorder, and no idea how to conduct themselves in an urban civilian environment.
So, what happened?
The story is, one of them, the colonel, I don't know his real name, sexually assaulted a local woman while he was drunk and separated from his unit. This allows some of the more militant Union members to subdue him. He was taken out behind the whirling in rags and lynched last Sunday night. Nothing. Mr. Clare refuses to let me into the harbour. I have not been able to discuss this matter with anyone there. The remaining 2 Crenell contractors carry out their orders, for now. It's a smokescreen. In secret, they are conducting an independent military tribunal into the lynching.
What is the nature of this so-called investigation?
Whether to execute one, some, or all of the Union militants.
It'll be all of them. The decision is already made.
Surely you're joking. These people are killers. My only hope is that yours provides a single, concrete suspect before they indiscriminately pick theirs. Simply put, if you don't pin this on someone good and do it fast, they will identify and execute everyone present at the lynching. This in turn will force the Union to respond.
They would have to project strength and power.
The Debardeurs have over 2,000 men. It will be 1,000 to 1.
Have you ever seen a hornet invade a beehive, Lieutenant? It's not pretty.
The Serai's giant hornet, the world's 2nd largest insect, can kill 40 honeybees a minute, while a group of 30 can decimate an entire hive of 20,000 bees in less than 4 hours.
These men work in tandem using semi- and fully automatic firearms. Their armor is virtually impenetrable to muzzle-loaded weapons, even yours. Most, as I said, a bloodbath. It doesn't have to be like this. Nameless, badgeless officer of the citizens' militia. One single concrete suspect delivered into civil court, and I may be able to defuse this situation. Not much. Their public resume is relatively good, as far as private military contractors go. I believe they were once called Downwell. They boast a long list of clients: Saint-Baptiste, Welchman Lorenz, Eintracht. A warning sign, however. The operations concerned all take place in 3rd or 4th world countries. Guarding facilities, escort missions and such.
Meaning they're used to operating in war zones.
Yes. All the good conflict corridors, Supramundi, Yesut, the Seminese Islands, countries that don't have a good record reporting atrocious military conduct on their soil. I wouldn't go as far as to use that term, detective.
It's the expression she objects to?
Yes.
She picked a strange hill to die on. Strike. She's silent.
What is the purpose of this, detective?
Should have cornered her. Maybe it would have yielded something.
I wouldn't go...
It's the expression she objects to? She's silent.
What is the purpose of this, detective?
Paramilitary death squad is a bit rich. But yes, were it up to me, I would have at least vetted them more thoroughly. Sadly, no. Before this happened, I had little interest in them. Now that I do, I don't have the resources. If you still have access to the ICP's database, you could run a better background check than I ever could. It may take some time, though.
The International Collaboration Police, ICP, is charged with coordinating law enforcement activities in complex multinational investigations. Their database is the single largest source of information in the world.
Do you know a lot about the inner workings of the RCM and the ACP, ma'am?
In my line of work, it pays to do your research. I was prepared to deal with the RCM. I did not think I'd be dealing with a group like Crenell. I have. And they will. However, these orders take time to reach what is basically a rogue unit out in the field here. Until they do, it's all on us.
She's being truthful. She is pressing them as hard as she can.
Or he didn't. This is information passed on to me from some teenagers loitering around the canal. I cannot testify by it. That the man was killed because he assaulted a local woman. I've asked around a bit. This seems to be the accepted story around Martinez.
The lieutenant consults his notebook, his eyebrows knitted in concentration.
Odd. We haven't heard any reports about an assault in connection with the lynching. Where did it take place? And when?
Last Sunday night, at the Whirling in Rags, the hostel by the gates. Supposedly, the colonel was drunk, maybe on narcotics too. Either way, he's alleged to have sexually assaulted a woman. Sometime later, a group of dock workers got their hands on him. That's a good question, officer. I don't have the slightest idea. As I said, it's a rumor about a rumor. In any case, it's what the colonel's remaining colleagues believe.
You'll meet her soon enough, you feel?
If you mean did I see him alive, yes. But I did not know him. Lely, his service name, a nom de guerre, most likely. He wouldn't divulge his full name. Only one of them did. A bad sign if there ever was one. One is a man, Corty, they call him, a nickname as well. The other a woman, Phyllis DePaul. Corty is the gunner, I believe. DePaul is a radio operator.
What would you say was his eye color, the deceased's?
She closes her eyes, trying to picture the man's face. Then...
I can't remember.
That's all right, man. Anything else? Nationality? What would you say was his age?
He was 40. Or 50. It's hard to say which. He had a combat injury on his lower jaw. It made it difficult to estimate his age, or gauge his facial expressions.
What else? Nationality? Accent?
He was, Occidental, I think. Light brown hair, a mixed accent. Oranese. Or Messinian, maybe. His injury gave him an accent all his own. In a way, it was humanizing. He had to learn to speak through it. Through the injury. That's all I know, I guess. I only met him once. They've gone to ground, as it were. I don't recommend seeking them out. For one, they're almost certainly armed to the teeth. They don't have the same respect for the Revachol citizens' militia as I do. To put it bluntly, they think you're vigilantes. Ghetto savages. It will not be a fruitful meeting.
Vigilantes. You're a professional officer of the only legitimate authority in Revachol.
Somehow, I doubt that lecturing them on the legitimate use of force will persuade them to stand down.
Did you miss the part about ceramic armor and automatic weapons, Detective?
That is a bad idea. One I won't be a party to. That's wise. Our goal is to avert catastrophe. Besides, until the executions start, truthfully, I don't know. It depends on their progress identifying the members of the lynch mob and their impatience.
They don't report their progress to you?
Not on this matter. I'm afraid they consider this a personal initiative. It's a matter of days, not weeks. I am sorry to have been the bearer of bad news. You're back. Good. What can I... Of course. Anything to help. They've gone to... They don't have the...
Vigilantes. You're a professional officer of the own...
Did you miss...
That is a bad idea. One I won't be...
This is so embarrassing. You have no idea. There's something wrong with your brain. Luckily, the lieutenant still has his.
Ma'am, with all due respect, I've been around Martinez, and there's a giant hulk of a man in ill-fitting clothes at the harbor gates. Mr. Right to Work. He's...
Not a terribly good actor, that one. Still...
And the other one, the Paul, must be in one of the 4-story buildings overlooking the roundabout. She was reporting back to you while we were canvassing the lorry drivers.
That would afford a good vantage point. Still, I hope you heed my advice. There's no need to kick the hornet's nest. I am sorry to have been the bearer of bad news. If there is anything else I can help you with, please ask. Of course. Excuse my hesitation before.
For about half a minute.
It was taken with a trigette not long ago. This is the man's upper body. There were no more markings on his hands or legs.
Her mouth is relaxed. The accordion lines near her mouth vanish. The pearls of her eyes move slowly on the photo's surface.
Sorry. I was trying to see if I can read the web of interdependencies between these points. The stars. I can't. But that's how you read this story. The points themselves don't have letters, numbers, anything. Their size, location on the body, and distance from each other tells you what they represent. Close. Port cities. This is an Oronese map of the waterways, a sailor's tattoo worn by wayfarers of the Dolorian century. Over 300 years ago, the sailors would mark their bodies to map their travels. The sailor's soul would use it to fly back home if they should die abroad. This is a sort of contraption to be reeled back in by. The silver cord, they would call it. Quite a few. Vredefort, the Oronese capital, traditionally stands on the right shoulder. He started somewhere near here, I think.
What next?
Then he made his way to the Pretto Grande, through what I think must be the Stutz Canal, an artificial channel through the Occident. From the Pretto, he sailed to the Insulindic Ocean, first the Semnes Islands, then this. Revachol. Those are the two constants. Vredefort on the shoulder, and Revachol in the heart. They started the tradition of these maps right after the discovery of Insulinde, at the dawn of the Interinsulary Age.
The old world passing by, and the new world already here.
You said you can't read it.
I can't. This man was no sailor, and these are no ports. I can understand geographic fragments, but not their meaning. His platoon members? The other contractors, though I do not suggest you go and show them that picture. This man was their friend and comrade.
Surely there are other people to ask about the tattoo. This is not necessary to complete the task, officer. It's a dangerous side task. Search elsewhere.
Do what you have to do, Detective. I don't think deciphering that tattoo should come before public security. But if you should wade into the mob to find out, I couldn't stop you.
We will be careful, ma'am.
Is there anything else I can help you with?
care? Kuno doesn't... Does Kuno care?
What's going on? Is an ungovernable youth on your crime scene, throwing around incendiary language, trying to push your buttons.
Trying to fuck at the Kuno! Trying to fuck at me! Trying to fuck! Kuno only gets higher! It's faster, faster, faster! Can't take the Kuno! Stay out of the reactor!
Kuno gonna fuck you up! Up, up, up!
Normal is not what we got here. You've got to work with what you have for now.
Kuno doesn't fucking care!
Right to work! Right to work! Shame on you!
Don't think so.
Suddenly, this feels like a really, really bad idea. Silence. He takes the photo. Grey eyes dart back and forth on the glossy surface. You see dead flesh in colourful rivers of polychrome, melting skin and hair.
Fucking loincloths. Really did him in.
What it means. I can tell you what this one means. Only one. You want to hear what happened here? Our colonel is deep in the bush here. Deep in the fucking bush. In Benital, 41. Monsoon season. He's on a reconnaissance mission.
Benital is one of the inhabited islands of the Seminese archipelago near the Pale. Covered in jungle, it was anchor point for the Seminese nationalists in the proxy war held on the islanders' territory.
He spent a month behind enemy lines, scouting kept villages. Nothing but fucking bugs and snakes for fun. Men are getting restless. There's talk of switching employers.
With some strange emotion, this is about to get really graphic. Last moment to back off.
Our boy, he's only a captain then, but he knows how these men think. If they don't see action soon. At dawn, he comes upon two kids, breeding in the bushes by the river. Or maybe they weren't breeding. Maybe they were just making eyes at each other. I like to think they were breeding. We shot the boy. He was useless, but the girl, she was nice. A little fat, you know, but not too old. She was quite the entertainment. For the week she lasted, expired in the hands of Sarge Mason. The kind of guy who'd make Chief there shit his pants and cry like a bitch. God. Mason couldn't let go. Cut the tits off her cold body and fucking ate them. Said primitive spirits were watching over him now. Drowned in a creek a week later. Spirits my ass.
Something stirs in your stomach. There's a word on the tip of your tongue. Colorless, odorless. It's...
You bet it was. It's just nature. This guy, he used to say evil is when nature and spirit meet in the wrong place. No, I was somewhere else. That's just a guess as to what this one little star on his belly might be. I'm just a bouncer. Fucking mask is getting sweaty. I want to take my mask off.
He's under orders, and orders are orders.
Go ahead.
All right now. Free commerce! Keep the goods flowing!
On the photo in your hands, the dead man's skin is studded with stars. Tens, hundreds of them, littering his dead skin.
Mr. Dubois, I hear the meeting with Titus was a glowing success. That's such a relief. Titus can be a handful sometimes. Now, what can Everard Clare do for you today?
You might have noticed there's one hanging on a tree behind the hostel cafeteria.
Oh my. Don't take this question personally, but why would I get involved in this matter?
Mr. Clare, the man was hanged with a cargo belt. A steel-reinforced cargo belt. It's safe to assume the Union had something to do with the murder. Besides, getting the body down would benefit all of us. It's a stain on the neighborhood.
I can certainly see how having him up there might start affecting some real estate values. But of course, all joking aside, I am going to help you. Jean-Luc, my boy, I'm sending 2 police officers down. They have a dead body in a tree problem they need help with. Namely, they need it to be taken down. And, Jean, please take it easy with the race signs. He's had enough of that. You can find Jean-Luc down at the gates, but you already knew that. Anyway, he's going to help you. Ah, yes, your side investigation. Thank you. You've got some spirit clearing up phony drug accusations alongside this murder. I'll talk to the mayor and see if I can get you the key to the city, Harry. Now let's talk real business.
Actually, Rivershell doesn't have a mayor. He refuses to discuss it further. It's probably just a small nuisance to him. Not even a speck of anger in his voice. That's that then.
Yes, yes. My best men are tracking it down. Some kids saw some other kids running away with it. Some folks said a paranoid schizophrenic might have it. Leads are being checked, Harry. What's that, Harry? You're getting a little pale. Is it the words paranoid schizophrenic and lost gun in one sentence? Don't worry, it's just a lead. It'll probably turn out to be nothing.